Hey guys, this is Zlewikk and welcome back to Tinto Talks. So Dev Diaries about a not yet announced game called Project Ceasar, but by now we all know that is EU5. After last week's very interesting Dev Diary, well, we discussed the changes about the naval gameplay. I recommend checking this. Today we're gonna take a look at the colonization in EU5. First of all, we're getting a knowledge about a new mechanic that was in EU4, but will work completely different while having the same name in EU5, and it's called power projection. In EU4 you had to do specific actions like be a great power, conquer terrains from your rival, humiliate a rival, insult them, etc. In EU5 it will be more based on your actual power projection. What's your government rank? Are you an empire? Are you a kingdom? Are you a duchy? What and how many advances did you take to increase your technology, and in general, how powerful is your nation compared to the others? And this mechanic will be very important in impacting the colonization itself. Next thing are the colonial charters. So when you'll be wanting to start colonizing a specific terrain, as according to this, the colonization is going by province. So you remember a province has multiple locations, like Södra Österbotten has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 8 locations inside, and that is an example of colonization of Finland by Sweden. There will be a couple important rules when you'll be colonizing. First of all, you're not getting settlers out of thin air like in EU4, but instead you're moving people from one province to another, so they will be just moving. Another rule is that usually in the province that you are colonizing, there will be some people living there already. So to finish a colonial charter and create a standing province out of it, you will have to reach 1,000 people there. But out of this 1,000 people, a certain percentage of this population has to follow your state, religion, and an accepted culture from your country. Otherwise, the colony will not be finished. And what percentage you have to achieve to finish the colony will depend on many things, including power projection. And it's gonna be power projection of your country and other countries that will be in this location. And yes, Johan said that it's in plural, and next week we will understand what they are talking about. This has the implication that at the start of the game, Yuan could in theory start colonizing Europe, and if it only had been discovered and the closer. How the countries and pops already present in a location react to your colonization is something that will be clarified in later Tinto Talks. Later in this Tinto Talks, they also mention that it will increase the costs significantly. So in many cases, it will not be just worth to try colonizing a province where a lot of people are already living. It's better to focus on ones without people. As long as you have colonial charter, people from your own locations will start moving to the locations the colonial charter. That's what I said. The amount of people moving is rather low in the beginning of the game, but there are advances that will increase it in later ages. So technologies. Societal values have an impact on it, and so does the distance to the colony. One thing to take into account is that colonization does not magically create pops. That's what I also said. So here is an example of growth of the colonial charter and migration to Swedish colony of Södra Österbotten. And you see that we are getting 20 of movement of the pops from colonial investments, which is probably advance. Distance is impacting that, since it's close to Stockholm, they're only losing 2%. And then I think that societal value is increasing that by 30%. So in the end, we're getting 25 pops migrating from one province to another. Here goes the cost. So it is obviously not for free, and the amount of the population that is in the target location province is gonna significantly increase the cost of colonization. You see here the cost is basic 0.33 from the population in Södra Österbotten, which was, I think, very low population there at the start. The distance, and since it's the same region, the cost is actually decreased. Okay, how do we create a colonial nations, and in general, how creation of them will work? Well, as soon as you finish a first province, that's what I'm understanding this, you will be able to choose, do you want to keep this province for yourself? So it might be, for example, cases of Sweden colonizing Finland, or do you want to create a colonial nation there, which might be a cost like, for example, of colonization of Newfoundland, where because of distance, your control of this province will be close to zero. And then the third choice is to add this province to already existing colonial nations. So it seems like there won't be colonial regions like in EU4. that were limiting, how you're playing around with your colonial nations. Plus, Johan is saying here, you can create a colonial nation anywhere, not just in the New Worlds, which is, I think, another good change, and I kinda agree with it because it's historical. Colonial nations are a subject type that cannot be annexed and has a few advantages or disadvantages depending on your point of view. In that, why they start transferring less gold than a vassal would, they also grant you some manpower and sailors while giving you part of their merchants to the overlord. To clarify, you can make colonial nations anywhere on the map where you can colonize. What are the ways to make the colonization faster? Besides advances that we already discussed, where there will be 2 cabinet actions that will speed this up, at least currently. Maybe there will be some unique coming for specific nations in the future. Supporting a colonial charter will move pops from a province you decide upon to the colonial charter you decided. The amount of pops getting moved depends on our current colonial migration capacities, but it should more or less double how much you're moving. The supporting colonies cabinet action allows you to move 100 pops every month from a selected province to a target province in a colonial subject nation. So this is about a specific charter, and this is to a colonial subject that is already created. And this might be, for example, useful where you have minorities that you want to get rid of out of your homeland, or you have a location where there's just too much population you cannot handle, then you can just send them to the worlds to work there and make the colony more efficient. Restrictions on colonization. There are several ways which can block other nations from colonizing certain places, including diplomatic treaties. At the start of the game, there is such a treaty between Sweden and Novgorod that are splitting Northern, Finland and Karelia as well as Kola between each other. Obviously there will be also Treaty of Tordesillas mechanic, which will be splitting the new world between the 2 Catholic powers. They're saying 2 Catholic powers, causing a lot of interesting dynamics. 2? So that's historical, but in EU4 all of Catholic powers could get into the Treaty of Tordesillas. So that's also a difference. But yeah, this is it for the colonization dev diary. Short and sweet, and I actually love it. I love the changes because first of all, you're not creating settlers out of nowhere, so you actually have to invest some of your population to colonize something. You have much more flexibility on where and how to manage the colonies, so where they are created, it can be outside of the New World. What promises these colonial nations are getting, it's not limited by the regions themselves. And obviously we just have to get more to know how this will work, and most importantly, how colonization is gonna work when you're colonizing a province already owned by another country. How it can impact the relationship between you two. But yeah, since we have 30 minutes since the diary was posted, let me see if there are any comments already coming from Johan. What if you colonize a location that has less than 1,000 native population? With the major culture switch to whatever was the biggest culture moving in, how will this work in case of places like Siberia and Finland? Yes, it will switch to the one or with the majority of the pops. You said that Yuan could theoretically start colonizing Europe. Is that anywhere in Europe or only in the areas without landed country? Oh, you misunderstood. Yes, if they get the range and discover France before France get the PPP here. Yeah, because so apparently you can only colonize province of another nation if your power projection is bigger than this other nation. A guy is asking about if the CS is gonna be working like in real life, or it will be more dynamic, and Johan is saying it will be dynamic, which is good news because it will not happen at the start of the game, so only after some time of gameplay, and there will be many situations like, for example, where Portugal in Castile will not exist in 15th century, right? So that's a really good way that's dynamic. Will pops migrate at random from provinces in your country or to the colonies, or is it weighted by the local economic situation, the number of people and discrimination? Basically, will pops from poorer regions be more likely to try their luck in the new lands? Poorer is most likely yes, another historical thing. What's stopping European power from colonizing West Africa aside from likely high population? A disease. Oh, that's something that wasn't also in the dev diary. Other things that will be impacting how you colonize. Will colonizing a province give us a percentage chance at discovering certain trade goods, sort of like in EU4 it worked? No. So it seems that trade goods in the New World provinces will be pre-recorded, so they won't be able to change. Maybe that's an idea for a setting, right? Random trade goods in the New World, pre-recorded, or specific chances of specific goods like in EU4. A guy is asking about situations like conquest of Incas and Aztecs by the Spanish, and Johan saying that's not colonization, that's conquest. But Johan, you did not say what happens with the conquered provinces in the New World or whatever else. So what if I have a colony in Benin? And that I colonized, right? But then I conquered nations that are next to that colony. Can I include these newly conquered provinces into a colony, or do I have to core them myself? I assume the answer is I can include them in the colony. Johan, oh, that's actually Dave, not Johan. Dave is saying that there can be multiple competing colonial charters in the same province at the same time, but it's not first come, first served. Rather, the first country to reach their threshold of religion and culture in each location wins the ownership. So let's say France, England and Castile are colonizing Newfoundland. Each of them have a bit of population, but the first country that reaches their own threshold, let's say 30% of their population and culture in a province, will take over the whole region. That's why PP is important, because the higher PP, the lower percentage threshold, alongside with probably advances and other stuff. That's gonna make the colonial gameplay really interesting. Yeah, and Johan is confirming that, yeah, trade goods will be set at the start of the game for all locations. Okay guys, I think that's gonna be it for today. Let me know what you think about this colonization. I told you my thoughts already. I'm looking for your comments, as they are usually very good, and I love the discussion below the Team to Talks videos. Obviously guys, subscribe to the channel to get notified about next Team to Talks videos. And I don't know if you knew guys, but I'm posting Tinto maps as shorts on my channel. So if you didn't see it, you can find it. Bye!